All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to the streams. This is another episode of our endless summer UAE streams, and today is a special one. As you can see on screen, we have members from across our UAE teams here. We have members from the Badria team, the Al Gharaib team, and the Hala Justice team here, and we're going to be discussing art and concepting. So I'm going to let the team members here take it away off that. So we're going to start around the corner here. So you guys want to start and kind of go around the room, introduce ourselves, and then we'll get right into the discussion.
All right. So I'm pretty sure you guys know me already. I'm Leanne, and I'm the art leader in the concept artist for Al Gharaib team. So Abizar, I believe. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So my name is Abzar. You just heard that. I'm the lead artist for our team, Hala Justice. I take care of all the background assets, background designs, and character concepts, and the character animations.
I think I can go next. My name is Rabia. I'm from the Badria team. I do a lot of the concept art. I did a lot of the concept art, and I do a lot of the cutscene art that goes into the game. And yeah, you've seen me before. You've seen those cutscene streams. Hand it off to Debbie.
Hi everyone, I'm Debbie. I'm from Team Badria and the Stolen Pearl, and I'm in charge of the 3D art, and also I've worked a lot on the storytelling. So nice to meet you all.
Yeah. So I am actually super excited to be meeting all of you guys, since art is extremely my passion. So I want to understand and maybe hear stories about usually in our childhood, you develop a lot of habits. So what did you resonate with art, and how did you get to discover that this is your hobby, this is your talent, and what made you stay using art as a hobby?
Really good question. I don't know how exactly to answer that. As far as I remember, I've been sketching since I was a child. The very first sketch I ever did in my entire life was probably a car. I can still remember myself trying to, get the shape of the car right. And, I'll actually get mad because, I can't get it right. And I'll waste dozens of papers just to get the design of the car right. And, and from there, I just kept sketching and sketching and sketching. And then I switched to painting a bit. And then here I am doing pixel art to make a game.
Yeah, but there's the thing, usually when you're a child, right, you look at a pencil, you're like, oh, a pencil. And then you put it on the paper and go oh, it does weird things on the paper, right? But
yeah.
but what made you decide yes, this is actually my destiny?
As I said, that is a really good question, and I don't have a clear answer to that. All I know is I love to do art. I love sketching stuff and creating characters. That's all I know as of now.
I see. How about Rabia? Can you please share your experience with how you discovered art and what made you love art?
Yeah, I can. So I love art, but I would like to comment first that I don't think it's my destiny or what I want to do in the long term, especially traditional and digital art. While I do those usually, a lot just out of habit. It was a habit, as you said, that formed when I was younger. And if you just, look into my room, just go inside my room, there's a lot of art supplies. I buy art supplies actively out of habit and out of the fact that, I do, but also have a lot of younger siblings, which I am trying to pass on that habit of just making things to. But I do think, so I don't think I'm somebody who is fully devoted to art. I was once when I was younger, but not anymore. And the reason I became really attached to art when I was younger is because I had an aunt who was an art teacher. And every time we'd go to her house, we would see all the paintings she had. So she had specifically, I remember seeing one painting, which was a horse. And she said she had made that when she was 12. And I think I was 6. And I was so impressed by the fact that she made that when she was so young that I decided, you know what, I'm going to do art. But later on, I went to university. I'm a computer science major. So I didn't quite become an art, a full-on committed artist in the end. But I do think that art will continue to play a big role in my life going forward.
Wait, to follow up with this, because this is really interesting. There is a thing, I don't know how you feel about stuff, but there's like, I feel like I can do some sort of thing, right? And I'm doing this thing because I'm good at it. So are you doing art as a form as because you think you're good at it and that's why you're pursuing it? Or is there like a motivation that keeps you going, that maybe art was, something that I need to be doing?
I think art is it's just something that's always going to be there. I don't think I can fully cut out drawing or just even like random painting. And I used to do a lot of abstract oil paintings, and I made one this summer. So it's just a seasonal thing, honestly, for whenever I need therapy.
So it's art. You use it as a therapy thing. That's awesome, because like you told me you're computer science, right? Computer IT. So it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of people that I know, like Faris, oddly enough, like my, just my member, right? He's like the boss and like the art director of Al Ghurub. He was also an engineer student, which he was like, nah, art was like the one that resonated to me like the most, right? So do you think that you discovered your love for art late, or was it always there?
No, it was always there. My parents also at some point got tired of buying supplies, and I remember them being like, finish this first and then get new things. Because I genuinely I have too much, and I'm glad I have siblings now that I can give all those, racks of watercolor papers to now. But yeah, it was always there since I was young. So it wasn't that I discovered it through the STEM or anything. Nope.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So you'll be passing on the legacy onto your siblings.
Huh?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that.
You'll be passing on your legacy to your siblings, like they'll continue your work.
They already have it. We have like regular sibling days where we just sit and, everybody takes a book or an iPad with a picture and they sit and draw and paint.
Same with my siblings. Like my younger sister, she's like 11 years old right now, and she's already doing facial portraits, sketches.
That's awesome.
And she's really good at it. Yeah.
Well,
I feel like she'll be doing it better than me.
Oh, you don't know how to draw portraits?
No, I actually do know how to do them, but I don't focus much on that. But I bet I know that my sister will do a better job than me.
Oh, do you need to step up or?
Nah, I let her do her own thing.
No, I'm obviously joking. Like the other stuff that you do is definitely like, by the way, Abzar is like super cool with like little details, drawings that I could never do this like in my entire life. He draws like full anatomy with like clothes on them, and it's crazy. And I'm sorry.
I think. Sure, continue.
Debbie, yours is actually the answer that I want to hear, because you're doing 3D model. We are drawing 2D, right? So how come that did you have like a moment where you were doing like traditional drawings and yada, 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 and then at the end you kind of just became like a 3D artist, or like what was the journey?
Okay, so my relationship with art is kind of like weird or different, because I actually can't really draw.
Okay.
Because when I was taking this 3D class last semester, and then the professor was talking about drawing and stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I assume all of you like drawing or can draw," and I was like, "No, sorry, I can't." Which is kind of why I wanted to do 3D art, because it kind of I imagine something in my I'm a creative person, like I have a creative mind, but then it's when it's kind of putting it on paper, like drawing, that I can't really do. But I feel like with 3D art, that kind of helped me express those creative ideas that I had in my mind, because it's I don't know, for like my whole life I was more of like the sciencey student. I'm not saying my parents forced me in this path, but low key that's what they kind of did. So I feel like I had a very late introduction to I literally only switched my major from engineering into interactive media 2 years ago. So that's kind of when I was like, okay, Debbie, let's start doing art, or let's build that relationship with art. So I feel like I'm still in the very early stages, but not really knowing how to draw does not stop me. Like I draw all the time, even though it looks like a 9-year-old drew what I did. But
That's funny that you say that. We continue.
yeah, one of my like goals is definitely to learn how to. I think you can learn how to draw. I heard that you can.
You
So
can definitely 100%. Girly, like art is extremely subjective. And even right now you're saying like, oh, like my artwork is like a 9-year-old. You have no idea how much people make money to draw like a 9-year-old. You get me just a bunch of scribbles and you just sell that artwork. It's literally, and
Yeah,
I
have
till
you
now,
seen modern art? I mean, they sell for
crazy.
millions.
It's so crazy. Like I remember till now, I won't forget it. I went to an art gallery, okay, and they were hyping that art gallery up. They were like, "You need to go there," right? I was like, "Okay." I went there, and there was like a bag of Cheetos placed. I kid you not, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's a bag of Cheetos in like an art gallery," and I was like, "I paid money to go to an art gallery to see a bag of Cheetos." Modern art is crazy.
If you come to London, definitely go to the Tate Modern because they definitely everything they have there is like a bag of Cheetos basically. Like I went to one exhibition, and it was literally just a pile of bricks on the floor, and I was just thinking like, can I just move? Like it wasn't even stuck on. It wasn't even chiseled together. Like you could legit pick. Obviously, I'd probably be kicked out of the museum if I tried to pick it up, but it wasn't stuck together. So I was like, well, I guess I could become an artist then.
Wait, I do have. Sorry, Abzer, you want to say something?
Yeah, all right. So there was something similar like this, but instead of bricks or Cheetos bags, it was a banana.
Oh yeah, the banana was honestly till now everyone like. I think it's
It
really
became a
perfect.
meme.
Like I
And I
consider
think
the banana
someone,
thing. Yeah, continue.
I think so, I think someone bought it and ate it. I
Yes,
think.
it did happen. The banana one that was displayed, he did eat it, which I think that's the art piece by itself. That someone has like so much money to the point where he just buys a banana and eats it. The disbelief on people's faces when that happened.
An absolute power move, I would say.
Absolutely.
I have a question for you guys that's
Yeah.
related to concept art, and it's, have you ever done concept art before? And if not, or if you have, how has that been? Because for me, let me answer my question first.
Yeah.
So for me, I've never made concept art before. I've made a few pieces where it's like imagining characters or original characters, sure, but I've never put together a concept of an entire like people, like my main character, her grandma, not her grandma, like her adopted grandma, and then the jinn, the enemies, all these people. I've never honestly thought of it beyond like a writing way. I've never drawn them out before this opportunity. So that was really interesting for me. So what about you guys?
For me, I did do concept art before, but again, like my artworks are basically called documentary artworks, which is like you draw a memory or some sort of photo, right? So like if there's like a bizarre photo of like someone eating like a Mac burger, right? That I would be drawing that image, right? So I think mine is like similar to concept arts, and usually I do mood boards and storyboards for like films, for album covers, for yada yada yada. So I would say it's my first time doing concept art for a game, but it's not my first time doing concept art. You get me? Yeah.
For me, I don't actually do much concept art. Before I was doing before I was making art for the game, I would just make random characters. Like that's one of my hobbies, like sketching characters and making scenes and stuff. So I don't know if you can call that concept art, but while making our game, while making our game, I didn't exactly make a concept art either. Like I will have a bunch of ideas in my head, and then I'll just paint what is the best looking one, and then make some tweaks as needed. That's what I do. What about you, Debbie?
Yeah, again, I'm like I'm not really like a drawing person, but in terms of one thing that I'm really passionate about and something that I'm trying to pursue in the future is storytelling. So like I'm really a fan of like imagining like world building and like thinking of like each character and where they're placed in that world and their history and things like that. So one of the things that I did with Team Badria and the Stolen Pearl was with Dabia was thinking of the story like from the beginning. What is the history of the town? Where is it set? What is the character profile of the main character Badria? What kind of things will she do that's in character, and like how to prevent her, doing things that are out of character, things like that. So I'm more of a like imagining the story, and I'm putting that down on like paper in terms of writing, not in terms of like drawing.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Are you by any chance interested in sculptures, Debbie?
Sculptures?
Yeah.
I'm so
Because like you 3D models, so I assume like maybe not 2D artworks, but when you see like a physical object, you go like, if I added a mesh and like something, you get me?
I've definitely like been interested in I'm just interested in like 3D art as a whole, whether that's through like digitally, like using like Maya or Blender, stuff like that, or like physically. I definitely want to take like a clay class and see what I can do with if it's actually like in the real world. But yeah, that's a question that I'll have to like think more about. But sculpture is definitely something that I can explore.
I guess, guys, one more question that I've been wanting to ask, and Debbie it's following up from Debbie's talk about storytelling and writing down the background of all of your characters, all of the places, all of the settings. What came first for your teams? Because as Debbie said, for us, the story came first. And I remember even just writing it down on a Notion doc. And then, no, Debbie was the person who wrote the first iteration. And then I edited, and then Debbie. And it was just a back and forth of just writing the story before making any art at all. So how did it go for you guys?
For me, it was like super easy. I have like an amazing, like friend, which is like he did this, which is he made like a full list of the story, right? And I told him I'm a bit dumb, so what you need is you need to describe everything that you think about the character, because he's the one who made it, right? I'm the one who's drawing it. So he made me another list of like references and like descriptive things about the character, and all I need to do is just draw whatever it's said there. You get me? So that's how I like did the concept arts for Al Ghurub.
Nice. For our team, we would just hold a meeting, and then we will discuss. We were discussing, various storyline ideas, and we'll just keep pitching in ideas. And sometimes we'll bring in new ideas in the middle of doing our stuff, doing our work. So that happens a lot. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And did you guys do a lot of mood boarding before starting out with your characters and places? Because we did. We had so many images in like this whole art package thing, which was basically just full of references that we wanted to go back to.
Actually, I did. Our team did make a few mood boards, and we were like, we were looking at, okay, which one looks the best and the most suitable for our game and its theme, and we just pick it and implement it. What about you, Elian?
I don't think we had a mood board. I believe we made a mood board after we drew everything, which is funny because like we had the reference, and I think me and Faris and like the rest of the team kind of have like the same brain length. Like you get me? So we said this, that we all just got what we wanted from each other. You get me? Until like I remember Brian like asked us like, we need the mood board from you guys, and we were like, what's our mood board, guys? So we had to like make a mood board, and like it was really, really fun. You get me?
So you
to
created a mood board because you had to create one. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
we already had references, but it wasn't like a mood board. It was more like like dark at night and some demons. You get me? Like we didn't have like a specific mood board to go through.
I think we made many, Debbie, if you remember. We had the mood board for everything. We had a mood board for the houses, a mood board for
Yeah.
the gin, a mood board for the clothes the characters are wearing. I'm asking Anthony if I can share those in the chat of the stream or not. I'm not sure if I can. So Anthony, let me know if I can, and I'm okay with like sharing our art concept thing with the mood boards. So I guess again, I'm kind of asking questions here just because they keep popping in my head. Were
Yeah.
you guys inspired by any previous media from the UAE while making these games? And if not from the UAE, what were your other inspirations?
What do you mean by like TV media?
I mean, so for us, there were these TV shows that were made in the UAE, like Al Farij, Fusa Busa, these like traditional Emirati. They had cultural influence on me growing up personally, and they also happen to be great pieces of TV that are 3D and also had 3D settings that we could take inspiration from. So yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh well, for me, like I won't say like an inspiration, but more of a moment. You get to me, like Faraz, he's like a storyteller, so he always likes telling stories, right? So we were all like sitting, and he kept like saying stories and whatever, and whatchamacallit, we kind of just talked about like myths ish, right? And like urban legends. We're like, yo, like this is such a cool thing to like talk about because like nobody talks about the urban legends and yada yada, right? And then like we just deep down research searched about like like search about like what's the urban legends, what is this, what made it up at the first place, why it became a thing, and we kind of like went into the rabbit hole, right? So I think that was our inspiration, right? Like it was a moment, it wasn't like what we saw from TV or whatever.
Yo, that sounds amazing. For us, yeah, for us, I could agree with it's the same as time with us. We didn't exactly have an inspiration for our storylines. Came up with ideas, and we had lots of ideas for our storylines. Like our initial idea for our game and the current idea we have implemented has a day and night difference. Like, it's crazy if you think about it. The inspirations we actually took were from a gameplay and art style perspective. Like for our art style, we went with the pixel art, and we wanted to look like a 90s retro game.
That's
Like
cute.
if you play those Atari video consoles,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, that's the art style we actually went with. For storylines, we just kept brainstorming ideas and finally found something.
Yeah, no, that's actually exactly what I was asking. I was asking if there were any art influences. So yes.
Oh my God, art influences. We had so many art influencers. You get me? Like, we didn't want our game to look extremely realistic, but more that has like a kind of like a game design aspect and aesthetic. So we had multiple designs, and it was mostly like small companies who made games, where it wasn't like the big ones. So yeah, we had multiple, like I can't even count them. We had so many. And then we started, me and Faris and the other team members like Gaya and Hamad, we were like in a Zoom call, and I remember like I was physically drawing with them, and they would tell me like, yes, it's this art style, or no, that art style, or yeah, you get me? So we kind of like mixed everything until we found our goal, to what we want our game to look like.
I mean,
Sorry.
I was gonna direct this question off to you. I was literally going to say, Debbie, talk about the art style. Yep,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna answer for Team Pitria. So apart from the Emirati influences that we got, we were also inspired a lot by Disney coming of age movies like Moana. And I think I haven't watched this one, but W, you also mentioned the the resemblance, but Raya and the Last Dragon, right? And I recently binge watched, like, again, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and when I was watching, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we didn't remember this as like something we could compare it to, because the story also has some similarities to Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know, given that he's like a 12-year-old and the fate of the universe rests on his 12-year-old shoulders. So that was because I watch a lot of TV, so that was also like we drew some influences from things like that as well.
I am extremely curious to see how do you guys work, in a sense, as in like when you start making artworks or when you're in the art zone, right? Like, what does go through your head? What do you need to do to be in that zone? You get me, like, what music do you guys listen to? Do you guys listen to music even when you're working, or is it broadcasts, or like what's your workflow ish when making concept art?
All right, I'll go first with that answer. For me, I listen to various type of stuff when working. Sometimes I just listen to white noise. It's nothing. It's just white noise.
Yes.
So it actually helps me to get into the zone and block out all other outside noises. And when I was making the background scenes for our level 2, the background scenes for level 2 is heavily inspired by cyberpunky themes. So I'll be listening to 90s cyberpunk themed music, like techno stuff.
So you would
yeah.
So you would listen to the song that resonates like the feel of the game, so in order to like make the background?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's super cool. I should do that. I don't like, people suspect me to like listen to horror, like music, and yeah, because like we're making a horror game, and then I'm like the brightest chick people know. So I listen.
No, it actually helps. It actually helps a lot. I know. I'm pretty sure that if I did not listen to those type of music when making the background scenes, it would not be as how do I put this? It would not look as pretty as I intended it to be without listening to those music.
That's actually good advice. I should try that next time.
Yeah, you should. You all should.
What about you, Labia? What do you do when you work?
I don't think I listen to music anymore when I draw. I only listen when I paint. Like when I'm doing digital art, it's usually the only thing that I need to get started is to have my mood board of references on like my screen, and then I usually draw on my iPad, and so I just have my references ready, and then I would usually have a show playing in the background if I need something else to listen to. But I don't listen to music anymore when I draw, only when I paint. Yeah.
But what's the difference though from painting and from like digital art though?
Because I'm usually standing when I paint, but when I do digital art, I'm usually sitting. But I don't really know. It's just I don't anymore. Like, being honest, making the concept art for the Badriya characters and for the spaces and whatever, I haven't listened to music. Like, I just usually sit, sketch them all out in a day, and then color them in the next day. That's yeah. What about you, Debbie? How's your workflow when modeling?
When modeling, like, I listen to music all the time while I'm working, and the music never really, it doesn't affect, like, I don't choose the music based on like what I'm modeling or things like that. But the only time that I've done something like that is when, like, if I'm trying to like story, like world build a story, like write a story or something, there are these really good playlists on YouTube that capture the mood of what you're trying to write. So like when I finished watching Game of Thrones, I was like, oh my gosh, let me write a Game of Thrones like story or something like that. And I went online and I was like, okay, fantasy music playlist for writers or something like that. And it really helps, actually. Like, the music, it almost transports you into that world, and then you can, write easier.
Yeah.
So that's the only time that I've done something like that. But when I'm modeling, I just usually listen to Harry Styles, because,
Yeah.
Harry Styles.
Sounds amazing.
Harry Styles is nice, yeah. his new album like really came through. Like, I wasn't a big fan of Harry Styles until like his new album. I was like, oh,
Oh,
It's actually really
since I
nice.
was a child, like Harry Styles is my guy. Since I was not to be embarrassing, but like I don't mind claiming Harry Styles, you know.
We love that. That's such a vibe. Honestly, I should start doing this because what you call it? I just listen to jazz and white noise. White noise is amazing. If you guys haven't tried using white noise as you're working, you're missing out. At first, it's gonna be super annoying. You're gonna hear like clack noises, and you're gonna be like, "Oh my god, I can't stand this." Just wait. Just wait until it hits you. You're gonna be in a zone like never before. Honestly, vibes. What you call it? You, Dabia, you said something about you. This is your first time concept, like doing concept art, right? I want to ask, like, what was the most challenging thing that you've like faced when you were, or like as an art or art director for like Badriya or like concept artist for Badriya, or you get me? Like, what's the hardest thing you faced?
I think I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but probably consistency, and just because this is my first time ever drawing all these characters and these things together that are supposed to, be from the same world. I don't have a consistent art style, and so I think that was the most challenging thing. But I think at the end, everything really does look like it belongs to the same world, the same media, like the same story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I relate to Labia with that one. I also had the same issue. Like some of my characters I designed, they were like, in a 64-bit format, and some were like 128. So like if
Yeah.
you put them side to side, they were, one is super detailed and the other one is less detailed, and with especially with shading and stuff.
Yeah. Did you have,
But
by the
yeah.
way, how did you like fix this problem? Like, have, oh no,
You
how
just
did you
fix
do?
it, yeah.
Did
You
you
just find a workaround.
Oh, okay.
You
Because
just find a fix, yeah.
I did ask this question when you guys were streaming, and the problem is my English is not that good. You get me? So I wanted to say, like, did you just like did everything in like the same pixel size, or did you guys find like the break point where it's like, okay, we have like two sides, we have this more detailed, this less detailed, so the less detailed will be there, and the most detailed is gonna be there.
Sorry, I did not actually get you.
Okay, so did you make everything in a same pixel size to like manage your guys' game, or did you find out a way to like did you find the break point where you're like, okay, I think we found out that the less important doesn't need to be detailed and the more important has to be detailed?
Actually, yeah, the thing is, when we're actually designing the sketches, when you're actually designing stuff, the pixel sizes don't actually matter that much. It just have, remotely look similar,
Yeah.
Unless, let's say you make an 8-bit character, an 8 by 8 character. And if that is a character, and then you're making a 64 by 64 character, that is a drastic difference, right?
Yeah.
So you can, if you're, for example, if you're making a 128-bit character and a 64-bit character, you can get the outline and details right, but the hard part will be to get the shading the same, like the shading and the lighting.
Yeah.
So that will be the hard part. So sometimes what I do is, let's say, most of my characters are in 64-bit, and I had 2 characters that were 128-bit. What I would do is I would downscale them to 64, which would obviously mean you lose some of the details. And then I just, repaint it, just fix the gaps and stuff.
Yeah,
so
okay.
That's what I did.
That makes so much sense because I was actually so curious. I was like, there's no way. You get me? I was like, there's no way. I was actually super curious about this for a long time. So thank you so much for answering that. That's crazy. Really, really crazy. How about
But it's not as crazy as accidentally overwriting one of your main files.
You accidentally overwrite your own files? Yeah.
I did.
We can't emphasize, like me and Faris, we couldn't emphasize how important is it to name your files. It's so important. Do you guys ever had like a problem when you were naming your files? No?
I don't think so. No. Not in this project, thankfully.
So you guys are organized? How about
I
Debbie?
usually have like backups and backups of backups of backups of copies.
Yeah.
But there was this one file like our game has this elite kind of enemy for
Okay.
level 2. So for the enemy, I only did the design, the
Yeah.
concept art, and the concept art itself was complicated. Like there was so much details and stuff.
Mm.
And I was making an animation for another character, and I most of my files have like similar names.
Yeah.
So yeah, I accidentally overwrote the file, and I had to dig through all of my WhatsApp team chats. I actually,
Yeah.
whenever I make a design, I take a photo or a screenshot and send it to the team,
Yeah.
send it to our WhatsApp group chat, and I had to keep scrolling to see the screenshot, and I had to
Yeah.
look at the screenshot and repaint it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a painful process.
I mean, I don't know if this is like a nice tip, but me and my team, we use Discord.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so in my own opinion, it's so much easier because we do also as well have like a WhatsApp group, but in Discord, like you would remember, like I sent it like 2 weeks ago, so all you have to do is just research images 2 weeks ago, and then it just pops up.
Yeah, Discord is easier to use.
Discord is easier. Like as a
Yeah.
concept artist, I can't deal with WhatsApp. Plus, WhatsApp like ruins the quality a little bit when you send it. Like I had multiple issues where it's like it's pixelated. It's not like HD. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I promise you, it is. It's just WhatsApp things.
Yeah, I agree with Leon on the Discord thing because I think even before we got accepted onto the program, we had already made like a Discord server with multiple relevant, channels.
Yeah.
Each one for each one of us. We were 4 when we began, so it was like, here's all the stuff that should go for coding references. Here's where
Yeah.
you should drop your work in progresses, and it's been helpful. I would say I don't think we could have organized all of that if we were just using a Facebook Messenger or a WhatsApp group
That's
chat. I
so
think
true.
Discord or Slack are definitely the go-to tools when you are or when you're working in a group.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. How about Debbie? I didn't hear like anything from you. I'm sorry, girlie. Like, what was like the most challenging thing that you did when you were working for Badria?
Oh, I'm currently going through the most challenging thing that I'm working through. So, one of the scenes is set in a cave. So I'm like 3D modeling the cave, but for some reason it's like so hard for me to do. Like because I'm using Maya typically, but like
Yeah.
it was just, I don't know, I just couldn't imagine how to do it in Maya. So then I was like, okay, let me download Blender and see
Yeah.
if and learn how to use Blender and see if I could do it in that. So that's what I was doing this week. But it's still, I think one of the reasons why it's kind of hard for me is because I just obviously I learned how to do 3D modeling like a few months ago. Like I still have a long way to go in terms
Yeah.
of learning the right techniques and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it's mostly about finding the easiest way to do something, because I hate doing something in a difficult way when I know that there's an easier way to do it. I just don't know what
Yeah.
that way to do it is right now.
Me too. I had to suffer through this too. I was like, I had to do a skybox. And I was like, oh my God, like this is my first time doing skybox. And I'm like excited because it's like a new thing that I'm doing. And usually there's a skybox and there's a sphere. The sphere is really cool. It makes your game like super smooth, okay? But the way to do that sphere is so complicated. You get me? And I had to use like 3D mode on Photoshop.
Oh, wow.
I know. It was insane. Anyways, it didn't go through well. So we just decided to stay with the 3 side boxes. And we were like, okay, we're gonna, keep it at that.
Yeah. But I think another reason why I'm finding making the interior of the cave very difficult is because I can't 3D model it without having like level design in mind, because I need to model it in a way that with the right route that Badria needs to take in mind, where she needs to jump, where she needs to things like that. So I'm kind of doing like two things at once. So like modeling, but also thinking of the, the different routes, because I'm new to this as well. But I'm still enjoying it. Like it's fun learning, how to do things. But yeah, that's the most difficult thing that I'm doing so far.
I see. Whatchamacallit? What would be the hardest thing I did? I am someone who likes to push myself to do hard things. So it's like you can ultimately say that everything that I've done is hard, because I keep pushing myself to like, what's the most complicated thing? And like the universe or the world would tell me this one. I'm like, great, I want that. I'm gonna go and do the most complicated thing ever. I think the most complicated one was doing a font, because I had to do like my own font since the logo was like my own calligraphy. So finding these online fonts could like compare to the calligraphy was so off. So I needed to make my own, right? But as soon as I made my own and I went through like the design and everything, the functional part of the font was like the hardest one, because first of all it won't function, and if you exported it only exported as an Illustrator or Photoshop font, and even if you like exported it as a general font, we couldn't understand how do we send it to other people, and the computer recognizes that there is a font there, right? So it was like the whole process of like finding out how like fonts function. So we put that in a side for now until we figure out how to do it like proper. But like we found a font today, which was very positive. We were super happy to find a font that is like close to what I did, and we were like ecstatic. We're like, yes, a replacement. So, whatchamacallit? Sorry, I'm reading the comments. Anyways, yeah, I really
what does the comment say? I can't actually see it. I'm not on YouTube.
So Faris was telling me fonts, Leanne fonts, yes, and it's because you guys don't understand. It took me 2 weeks to figure out to do all of 2 weeks for fonts. 2 weeks, it was crazy. I'm pretty sure like it's super easy, and I'm just complicating myself. But honestly, it was whack. No offense, but
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. By the way,
yeah,
sure. Continue.
I was just gonna ask you guys before. I was gonna ask you guys this before, but what softwares were you working with? Because I worked primarily for Procreate. Even when I had to animate our mini map that was in between scenes, so when the character would move from one location to another location, I just used Procreate for most of my work. I think I only used Clip Studio Paint for streams. But what about you guys? What was your
For me,
software choice?
I use Krita. I don't know if you've heard about it. Krita and Sprite for pixel art. Sprite is really good for pixel art. Like, I would recommend it.
Nice. You told me about Akira. I forgot.
Krita. Krita.
Yes,
Yeah.
Krita. I don't know why I keep adding like the A. I think it's because of an anime, but Krita is so good. I tried it when you recommended it to me, and it's actually super good. If you guys haven't tried it, it's really nice.
I think it's way more similar than Photoshop, but at the same time similar to Photoshop.
It is.
I remember buying a Sprite a few years ago when I saw a developer using it to make trees for his game, but I've never used it. But I messed around with it, but I never used it.
You can actually get it for free, like the official version for free, legit. If you that is if you get the source code, and the source code is open for all. You had to compile. It's a long process. It's like a 30-minute process. Of you had to download Visual Studio and do some coding lines and stuff, and you can actually get it for free.
Is that actually? Never mind. I'm not gonna say exactly what I'm thinking it is.
No. It's not what you think.
Okay, great.
It's all legit. Yeah.
I'm like, do you need to go through coding? This is a similar process to something else.
No, it's not what you think.
Okay.
By the way, I'm trying to share one of my artworks. It's not project related, and Anthony is setting it up. So you guys might be able to see it soon.
We would like to see it, honestly. So
Yeah.
you do. I'm seeing that. No, this is Kreta. I use, by the way, I didn't ask, but I use. I didn't answer. I use Mspaintx. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's like a free app that you can just download it anywhere. Like you could download it on your mobile, you could download it whatever, and it's free and it has like a lot of cool stuff. And this is why I use it. Plus, I've used it for multiple years. I believe like 8 years I've been using it. So, yeah.
Nice. So how long does it finish for you guys, to finish a concept art or a model?
It depends on the task, right? So if you're doing like abstract stuff, it takes me less than 20 minutes. I can draw stuff in 30 minutes as well, but it really depends, one, at the mood, vibes, two, how detailed it is, right? So let's say if I'm doing something hyper realistic, it's gonna take me about 1 to 2 days. If it's like something simple like al-ghurub, it usually takes me like 1 to 3 hours to do like one background, right? And then yeah.
Same for me, like even if it is pixel art, which pixel art seems much simpler and easier. It is simpler and easier, but it still takes like more than an hour or like 2 hours approximately to get it done, because the hardest part for me is to get the color coordination right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the most challenging part of concepting.
Yeah. Wait, like how? Sorry, the Debbie and Labia.
For me, it depends on a couple things. It depends on if I'm, just going at it, or if I'm distracted, or how complex the object is, and things like that. But if it's like hard object modeling, like for example the house that I modeled, I think I modeled that in a day, but that's because I was really like focused, and because like I'd used the day before to like kind of experiment with how I wanted it to look, and things like that. But the cave that I'm doing now, which I've started again, and then I've started again multiple times. Maybe when did I start this? I think a week ago, and I've been working with it like every day. But so yeah, it depends on how hard it is.
Understandable.
Yeah. By the way, guys, my artwork, it's gonna pop up soon. Like Anthony's working on it. Anthony, if you can hear me, you can bring it up now.
Yeah, it's up there, guys. So everyone should be able to see that.
right.
It looks awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
What? That's so detailed. Do
It's
you like?
not finished yet. I'm still working on it. I mean, even for this much, for all of this, took me like around 1.5, like 2 hours, like just this much. Yeah.
You need to finish it. I really like the art style approach that you went through it. Like just keep like I believe this is called like contour lines. Like keep lining out. It looks so awesome.
Yeah, I still have so much stuff to do. Like the details here, I still have to do much more details over here.
Yeah.
And the hardest part was to get the anatomy right. I still need to fix up some stuff over here, like the character's left hand. It needs to be a bit longer, I think. But it's kind of a bit hard to get it right.
Wait, the one that is like on the trigger, or the one that is holding the gun?
The one that is holding on the gun.
I think actually the hand that is holding the gun is. Wait, is it holding it like this?
No. It's like this, Wait, yeah, it's like this.
Okay,
I mean, this is the trigger finger, and they're holding on the barrel.
Yeah. I think the problem is, I don't think there is a problem with like this hand, the one that's holding the gun. I think there's a problem with the trigger hand.
Yeah, I also thought the same. It looks like he's holding it loose.
It doesn't look like he's holding it at all. He looks like he's doing this instead of like, he's doing this, you get me? Not this.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It's okay.
Like I don't do this kind of artworks much, especially on Krita. I mostly sketch them on paper, and it's much easier to do it on paper.
I cannot I cannot stress this enough. They're actually both of them the same, or am I just crazy?
What?
Digital art and traditional art. Like when people tell me like I can't do it on I can't do it digitally, but I can do it on paper, but they're like it's same.
I feel like they're different. Coming from somebody who transitioned from traditional to digital, I genuinely going back to traditional now. Like just now in the car trip, I was just holding my sketchbook and I was drawing. And instead of using my eraser, I used my hands. I was double tapping to go back.
Listen,
And
I
this
relate to
happens
that a
so
lot.
much. But I also genuinely think that people, when they move even from one, specific type of tablet to another tablet, you need time to get used to it. It doesn't even if you can draw really nicely on paper, you're still gonna struggle for a bit when going to digital. So I think there's a small learning curve.
yeah, me personally, someone who's doing both traditional and digital art, I don't think my brain switches. My brain just considers both of them the same. Okay, I think that's a bit weird, maybe.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
It wasn't a question.
Yeah.
It was more like a statement. As in,
Oh.
I do both. I do both like traditional art and digital art, and I can't see a difference between both of them. You get me?
Yeah, I get you. Sometimes when I'm, sketching on my sketchbook, I accidentally, how do I put this? Yeah, I feel like, I can actually undo the work I do. Like, how you're painting digitally, you can just press Ctrl plus Z and you can undo your last move.
Yeah.
I accidentally try to do that when sketching on paper, and I'm like, what am I doing?
I had the problem where zooming is a thing. Like I am like drawing. I'm like, oh, I can zoom and draw the eyes, and I'm doing this. I'm like, why is it not zooming? Like it's paper. Anyway,
Happens a lot.
Is it time to end the stream, or can we?
We're at the end of the hour here.
Yeah. So do we wrap it up, or is there another hour that we need to do?
Well, we can take a couple minutes here and see if we have any questions from the audience. Thank you guys so much for all your questions and comments in the chat here. We do have another live stream at 8 p.m. GST, the Hall of Justice finale stream. So we're looking forward to that and seeing the Hall of Justice team then. So we do want to take a few more minutes here at the end before we get to transitioning. So if you guys want to wrap up, we can take a few more audience questions here maybe, or do one last topic here. I think that'd be great.
Yes, perfect. Okay.
One question before we wrap up. But what are you hoping to achieve by the end of this whole game making process?
I want to be one thing, which is be a cool person, and that's all I care about. I just want everyone to look at my artwork and be like, that's sick. خلاص, mission accomplished. Thank you.
So you basically want bragging rights.
When you say it like
Understandably
that,
so.
when you say it like that, yeah, technically yes.
Yeah, I believe it's understandable, I'd say.
Yeah.
Same here. I'm in it for the fun and the overall experience, and I'm pretty sure that we all learned a lot during this.
Sakar has a question where he says, what are your concept art inspirations?
Who's gonna go first?
I mean, what's my concept art inspirations? It's more I go with the vibes. You get me? It's literally practice and error, right? Obviously, you have your references with you, but how did I get to choose to do that specific art style for my concept art is just trial and error, error, practice, see what fits you, and obviously you want to pick something that is easy to do. You get me? If you know the easiest way to be drawing something, then why not do that since you're going to be doing a lot of them? So, yeah.
Yeah, I have the same answer as Layan. I didn't have a specific inspiration when making art. I just went with the flow, and, I had tons of ideas in my head, and I just implemented some of them.
What else, Livia? Do you want to answer?
Yeah, I was dropping something in the chat, but I think for us, We've already mentioned, I don't know actually if we've mentioned this, but Debbie and I, when talking about textures in the game and art inspirations beyond just the 2D, we settled on something similar to Breath of the Wild again, in which the characters look very 2D and are toon shaded, cell shaded, whereas the environment behind looks a lot more realistic. Debbie, maybe you can talk a bit more on that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I share the same, view as Dabia. For us, we wanted our characters, all of them, to be like very flat and to stand out a lot against the background, which is more realistic, not necessarily like hyper realistic, but just compared to the characters. We wanted like a contrast between the characters and the background.
Yeah, I agree.
Understandable. That's actually it's so weird that all of us have like we all work in the same field, but we have like different approaches to things. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Faris asked a question. Great stream, guys. Thank you. Faris from Al Ghurub team here. I know. What are your processes for storytelling and world building? What do you find difficult in world building? You're responsible for that. I do nothing but draw. Anyways, you guys answer this question.
I think me and Debbie will start since we were responsible for that in our teams. And I don't think we found any difficulty when world building. Actually, we found difficulty limiting the world building. Yeah, Debbie, what do you think?
I think just one of the difficult things was just trying to validate like every action that each character would make. So like when we're thinking of, for example, like Bidria is meant to, go against she's meant to go against the wishes of her, like grandmother and go on this journey to, save the world. It's like, okay, so let's think of a way to do this in a way that's realistic to who she is and who like her grandmother is. So just trying to make sure that each character's actions match who they are and match like the the cultural context and things like that. Just trying to make sure that things aren't too bizarre, and that even though it's a fantasy world, things still somewhat make sense. But everything else was like really fun to do.
I think actually now that you're talking about it, we also had a very small, I'm not sure if it's a small difficulty, but we cut out some characters that were supposed to be there, and then we had to kind of sew the gap of where those characters were. Like we were having so for example, we have a betrayal element, and Debbie really helped a lot with patching this, but the original reveal was supposed to be that one of a family member, like a patriarch, was supposed to be the person behind all of this, and so Badriya then is betrayed by like her dad, I think, or her grandfather. I don't even remember who it is anymore since we cut him out such a long time ago. But then we replaced it with this like again another sort of betrayal, but this time it's from a character that appears right at the beginning. And so there was a lot of that where we change characters or we completely like cut them out. We were like, oh no, khalas, they were dead at the beginning. They never were alive. They are not coming back. So we did a lot of that.
That's so cool. I like when people work for like problem solving. You get me? So it's just interesting to hear that from you guys. How about you, Abzar? How is the world building with you in this process?
For us, it wasn't that complicated. As usual, we were pitching ideas, and I could say that for level 2, I did most of the world building ideas. Like for example, for level 1, you could say that we were actually playing in the past. Like the desert theme is like it's set in Fujairah or Ras Al Khaimah. So the main story of the game is the player is actually transported to the past and you're fighting in the past. And when you defeat the final boss of level 1, you get this memory fragment, which you'll be able to restore your memories and stuff. And then after that, you get to a portal and you're transported back to the future, and the whole theme shifts You go from
Yeah.
past to the future. Like the enemies in level 1, they'll all be wielding rusty swords and stuff. And we have an armored knight guy. He looks like a character from Dark Souls and stuff. I made him, by the
That's
way,
so
of course.
cool.
Yeah. And in level 2, everything shifts. Like you have characters that look like mercenary soldiers, and there'll be gunships and stuff. And one of the abilities in the second level is you could use a gunship.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's what we intended. And the character will have a shoulder-mounted guns and stuff. Yeah, it's futuristic and modern, and the overall theme is a bit cyberpunky.
Yeah, Bloodborne and like God of War and Dark Souls and all of these like games are very, very good to look for like villain character designs.
Exactly.
This is like sometimes when I'm like bored, I just look up like what designs that they are.
Like,
It's
I'm
insane.
pretty sure the character artists for those games from software games, they have no chill. They just whatever they're
No
doing, they just do it. They go in
Yeah.
hard.
I don't know where this like part of creativity comes from, because even when I sit down and think of a villain, there's no way my brain goes there. You get me? It's interesting how they think that. Before like we wrap things up, I want to say like one thing, which is like I'm super happy to be talking to all of you guys about art, because I
Yeah,
like
this
art.
was super fun. It was
Yeah,
exciting.
I'm happy to be.
Nice to meet you guys.
No, I'm like I hope we talk about like all of these things obviously in the future, and I would like for us to stay connected, our art, team, just like
Yep.
struggle together. Yeah,
Yeah, we should probably do that.
we should probably do that. Yeah,
And share our artworks and stuff, and we can give our opinions and help each other how to improve our works.
exactly.
That would
Like
be awesome.
come on, guys! Like we're the only people who are doing this. You get me? Like we need each other. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will leave space for all of us to say bye bye. So bye
All
from
right,
me.
guys. Thank you for everyone that chose to tune in. It has been super fun answering your questions and suggestions. And yeah, bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you,
See you
everyone.
soon for our final
Bye.
stream.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye again.
Bye.